Sounds good.
Right.
Welcome everybody in Facebook world. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Dina Tipsharani and I'm with Fourth Trimester of Arizona. And this is our Central Village community gathering. We are so excited to join you today from the Idea Museum. We are live at the Idea Museum in Mesa, Arizona. So if anybody on here is around Mesa and wants to come and join us, we will be having these in the museum, these village gatherings in the museum on the second Wednesday of every month. And so there's space for your kids to play and explore, and then space for you to come and connect. So we're happy to have you here. We will also continue having these on Zoom and Facebook Live for the time being. So if you're not able to come in person or not ready to return in person, that's okay too. You can still catch the info live and build community with those who are commenting and engaging. Today, we're coming together to talk about building your village. I already said this, but I'm going to repeat it because I go out of order sometime on slides. So thank you for having grace. So Fourth Trimester Arizona supports the mental, physical, and emotional health of new parents in the first 5 years after a baby is born. We are on a continual mission to best serve new parents across Arizona. And we invite you to enter your zip code. If you're just popping on, if you could type in your zip code into the chat. We'd love to see where you are coming from. And we use this information, it's confidential. Nobody will know who you are and where you live, but it's used for grant writing so that we can show the attendees for our groups and continue offering these to you guys. So if you can pop it into the chat, that would be beautiful and helpful. As we gather here today, we ask that everybody that is here to be kind and courteous to one another. This is a space where we are supporting each other in motherhood. We are growing together. People are sharing very vulnerable aspects of their life. And as we do that, we expect and hold space for one another to be kind and courteous. There's no hate speech or bullying that is allowed in here. We also ask that you do not promote or spam during our village gatherings. If you could just take more than you provide. I think that's the way to say it. I might got that backwards, but
Oh, it sounds right.
And then respect everyone's privacy and please do not offer any medical advice. We are in a space where we like to share and relate to one another. And if somebody is asking for support or ideas, you're welcome to share, just as long as it is not medical advice. Alrighty, thank you all so much for joining us. Today's meeting is about expanding your village, building community and support systems in motherhood. And that's where the villages were born for Fourth Trimester. And pre-pandemic, they were all in person, so you could have physical connection to other mamas on a similar journey and begin to build friendships and see other mamas who might be going through a relatable experience and know you're not alone. Hear things that are working for them or making a difference for them, and be able to expand your support system in your life. And now that we've gone through this pandemic time, a lot of things have been on Zoom. We're trying to figure out how to enter back into the world. If you're anything like me, it's been very like one toe in, one toe out of I'm gonna go in and then wait a second, that scared me, or somebody got sick and maybe I didn't make a good idea or good choice. And all of those emotions are valid. They're valid and they're real and they're welcome. And as we look to try and see how we're going to expand and step back into building our village, sometimes it can feel foreign and scary and overwhelming. And so this is a space today for us to talk about those feelings and honor them, and then try to create ideas and plans on how we want to move forward in a way that feels right for us. Right? A way that's aligned for us and our families. So that's the goal for our time together. Oftentimes as moms, I remember reading research and I was like, oh my gosh, it's valid. I'm like, I am never alone, but I feel so lonely. I feel so lonely and I'm never alone. Can any of you guys relate to feeling like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even now.
I know. Yes, even now. It's extremely common for us to be kind of in the zone of parenting our littles and trying to figure out feeding schedules and the cues of our baby and adjusting to sleep changes and a loss of sleep for ourselves. And especially amidst a pandemic, or maybe some of you guys gave birth in the middle of the pandemic and not having the people that you thought would be with you during your labor and delivery in your fourth trimester, maybe not having them be there. And so I just want to validate that for you guys. There's two different studies I was reading on this, and one study was a European study, and it said that 95% of moms in their study felt lonely in motherhood.
Wow.
95%. And then there was another study that I read, and it was 56% of moms. And so there's two different numbers there, depending on the population in the group. Also, depending on the year that was studied, because of the pandemic. But it's amazing to know and see that we're not alone in these feelings. Have any of you guys on here felt lonely in motherhood? You guys can unmute or you can share in the chat, whatever feels right for you. Yes, it can be tough to not get much adult interaction when you're spending so much time with your kids. I agree.
It's funny because I was just talking with my oldest today. She's 9. I was just talking with her about being introverted and extroverted, you know, because our middle girl is an extrovert. Like, she's just been like that since she was a baby. We'd be back for like a birthday party or something, and Jason and Julie and I were like, oh, we're done. And Catherine's like, hey, like, great, you guys. And we're like, what is wrong with you? Like, we don't understand, you know, because like we're just different people. But like, that's what's weird about it, because as an introvert, like, you would think this one little person, especially a baby, like, wouldn't really be that much energy, but oh my gosh, it's so much energy, you know, even just while they're sleeping, because they could wake up any second.
Yeah.
You don't know when, you know, it's gonna be. And I just found, like, I don't know, right now is literally the first week in a long time, you know, last week, that I did not have demands on me virtually every, you know, minute, even when somebody's napping or away someplace, like I have to go get them, you know, pretty soon, and this kind of thing. And so having school days has been really different. And I feel like, in a sense, I'm like a parched earth, you know, where you just kind of like go straight through until I start to kind of like soak it in and actually use it for something. You know what I mean?
I feel that too.
Yes. It's really different, you know, actually having like time where, okay, I don't have to remind somebody to use the bathroom. I don't have to, you know what I mean? It's a way different paradigm.
Yeah. I like that you pointed out being like extrovert and introvert, like how you experience things that are energizing or things that feel depleting.
Right.
And I find myself, I'm an introvert, and I have to have some extroverted friends that I can like hold on to. Let me hold on and get through and get myself back into a groove so I can find a healthy balance with it, especially with the pandemic, right?
Coming back into it.
Yeah.
I really resonated with what you said about like finding the old new rhythm.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same, but it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you guys dream, if you're anything like me, you daydream when you are stuck in a situation. That's like my escape, right? I'll be sitting there like zoning off in la la land, right? Dreaming about what connection could look like, what my village could look like in life. And while I'm sitting, like, I don't know, patting my son's back, trying to get him to fall asleep, or making dinner, doing one of the 1,000 to-do list items, my brain will escape and go to this place of like, oh, I wish it looked like this. I wish my connection and support system looked like this. I invite you guys right now, if you don't have a paper and pencil, go ahead and grab one. Let's take a minute. Let's take a minute to write down our dream. And you guys can journal on it as long as you would like to. Or you can just write a few sentences on it. But what does your dream village look like? What would it feel like to be supported and connected?
I'm gonna get a drink of water.
Mhm.
And whenever you guys are ready, I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to share. What did you discover about your dreams? What did you write down that your village, your connection, your support system would look like?
I can go if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, I wrote down to be able to show up at another person's house and just do normal things with other mothers, like laundry together, co-create dinners and watch movies together and just hang out.
That sounds so good.
Yes. I used to have that in San Diego. I was very lucky.
You
I
did.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. I look back at that time and I'm like, wow, you should have you didn't even know it when you had it, right? Yeah.
So I had a similar situation, except not, because we didn't have a baby until the end of graduate school. And it was Jason's last semester. He graduated, and 10 days later, Julia was born. So basically he was working on a dissertation. I was working on a baby. We had, sort of gave birth around the same time. But I thought of that though, the whole basically first year that we were here. I was like, oh, CRW, because that was the name of the housing complex for graduate students. It was it would have been so easy to say to somebody, hey, could you take the babies on Tuesday morning? Once they're old enough to nap, say, you take them on Tuesday morning, I'll take them on Thursday morning, that kind of a thing. And I actually did work out a childcare swap with another mom here in Tempe. We met through La Leche League. And once the kids were I guess they were around 18 months, maybe a little younger, through that year of 12 to 24 months, kind of, because they both started preschool after that. But we did a every other Wednesday kind of thing, where I can't remember whether, I think it was she'd take them on Wednesday and then I'd take them on Wednesday, and we do that, just a couple hours in the morning. And it was amazing to have, right? Just that kind of few hours. I remember gosh, putting together the changing table, mopping the floor, things that I'd never get to do with a toddler around. And so even what I learned was I only need a few hours, really. It makes such a big difference. But during the pandemic, I couldn't even, I think we've talked about it, I couldn't even really put my finger on what I needed or wanted, because you couldn't count on other people because there was the virus. And so you really had to, and that's when I really daydreamed, because I was what I need is a laundry chute. They can just open up and just put 1 to 3 kids in it for 1 to 6 hours and just have them be safe and occupied, school. But I this was just even an hour would be so great right now, because I just need my mind to myself for a little bit. But it was really impossible at that time. It really was. Physically, you could not get it.
snap that fan that's right there.
That's what I have. But I think like for me, the support is having like grandparents and or a good babysitter. And when you're talking about like having a village of people that, you know, you do laundry together, do meals together, it's like a different society, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not how we function. We go it alone because that's what we've just really been conditioned to do. And now is maybe not the time to go into all the reasons for that. But it's a reality, you know, and so like you almost feel weak, like needing, you know, someone else, you know, and I think that that's really actually it's a strength. It's something that we have to learn how to listen to and accommodate because that's a very human need, and that's what makes people that you want to be around who are empathetic, you know, and who know how to depend on each other and be interconnected. And I think it's something that was really, it was suffering before the pandemic, but now it's like really starting from scratch almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know.
I often find myself dreaming, and I call it a neighborhood. Like I want a neighborhood of support systems where we all live in the same vicinity.
You can walk
you
there.
Can, like, you can walk there. You can see them when they
Yes.
leave in the morning. Like,
Right.
you can have that
Right.
actual true sense of community right in your own neighborhood. And I would want it to feel like if somebody came over to the house, it's not entertaining, right? Because right now, if anybody
You
comes
don't have
over
to
to
clean
the
the
house,
house.
it is entertaining. It's like I have to like so much prep to do, right? We have to put it on the schedule, prepare for it to happen, figure out what we're feeding people. It feels like you're hosting.
Right.
And I don't want it to feel like that. I want it to feel like they can come in and like blend in with the life that we have. It just interwoven into the family.
Right.
And cook if we're cooking, and watch TV if we're watching TV, swim if we're swimming, just like exist together. Right? And I just dream. I've created a Pinterest board of my neighborhood. Full blown dream. I send it to my best friends. Like we're really like one day, come on guys, we really have to do this. Please. But to me, it's having something in close proximity, right? All of our family is far away. It's like a 45-minute drive, 2.5-hour drive, and seeing them is like once every 3 or 4 months. Like it's very spread out. So we don't have that sense of like someone that wants to come over and hang out and play.
It's kind of at the spur of the moment. Hey, what you guys up to? You know, that just doesn't happen because you have piano lessons and swim class and soccer practice. You know, once the kids are a certain age, and then like when they're younger, it's like, oh, I don't know, she's teething. I don't want to inconvenience. You know what I'm saying? Like she's napping. I don't want to. It's like, well, you know, what does it matter? Like, let's just exist. You know, and like if my baby gets sleepy, I'll just lay her down on your bed. It's like you can't do that. You know what I mean? There's so many reasons why like feels like it's not. It's like it's an intrusion.
Yeah. I'm like kind of reflecting on how I had that in San Diego and what it was about it that made it feel like it was okay.
How
Because
old
you're
were
right.
your kids?
My youngest was 2. And no, my oldest was 2. I only have one child. So there's one thing. And then the other thing that was really interesting is our houses were really close together. So me and the lady next door, who's one of my awesome friends still, our houses were really close together, and my kitchen had a door that could open where like I could basically see what was going on in her front yard. She could like walk in her front yard and basically see everything that was going on in our backyard and probably our kitchen, right? Like it was very open. And also our backyards, like the fences were so low, we could just be like, hey, what you doing over there? Right. Like that kind of thing. So she's like out there cooking, you know, on her barbecue, and she'll be like, hey, do you guys want rotisserie? Yes, we do want rotisserie. I was making something in here. Can I bring some of it over? It might be bad. You could decide if you like it or not, right? Like those kind of things would happen. And another family moved into our neighborhood who had little kids who were the same age. And it was the same kind of thing. Like we would just like walk down to our house and be like, hey, what's going on? You know? And so some of it was just like the willingness to do that. Right. But I think some of it was proximity too. Right. Like we were so close that, you know, you walked out your door and you could probably tell what the person next door was doing in their house. Right. looks like they might be cooking too. Do they want some of our dinner and we could have some of theirs that might be better than ours, right? Like
Whatever they're doing smells really good.
Yes. Right. Or their kids were like out in the front yard. And so you could, put your kids together and then the parents eventually come out, like those kind of things. But I don't know, maybe we just have
It's one of
pulled
those
ourselves too
factors that I
apart.
mentioned. It's like city planning, in certain areas, it's like used to have porches in the front,
Yes.
driveways in the back. Like the house I grew up in, everybody's got porches,
Yeah.
and you can see who's riding bikes and stuff.
Yep.
And like in our houses now, of course, the driveways in the front, porches on the back, you've got a fenced in yard,
Yep.
and it's meant for isolation.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, that's different though. I was in a neighborhood our first year here where there was a couple neighbors, around the corner that we hung out a bit. And it was really nice because she was basically like, any afternoon we're probably out in the yard, so just come by, that kind of thing. But it feels very rare these days.
Yeah.
It may not be as rare as I imagine that it is, but like there's not people in our neighborhood.
Well, I agree with it being like the structure of how we build our city. Like where I live, everyone has their garage and then they have their cinder block walls for their backyard.
That's right.
And so unless someone's really tall, you don't know if someone's in their backyard.
It's like home improvement.
So it's really difficult because people will drive in, they close their garage, they go inside. They don't hang out.
That's it.
Especially in the heat. They're not hanging out.
That affects it a lot too. I mean, I will say like that family I mentioned, the neighborhood, the first year we were here, it was in October before I met them, right? Because
then they're outside finally.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Camille. I see your hand up, my dear. Would you like to share? You might be tending to the babies. Would anybody else like to share kind of their dreams that they have about building their village or what their village and community would look like? Anybody on Zoom land? I think Camille just popped off. Maybe she was having a tech issue. She'll probably pop back on. And I know, so Jennifer, you don't live in Arizona. What is it like neighborhood wise where you live? Do you guys experience a sense of community out there?
It's a little difficult because I'm in a rural community, and for the most part, the community that I live in is, if you were born and raised here, like generations of raised here, you're in, and like they do everything together. However, even though I've been coming here to the area for almost 25, almost 30 years, actually, because we had a cabin up in the area and whatnot. Anyway, so even though I have that long-standing connection, I've only lived the last 6 years, so I'm not a part of that group that gets invited to the neighbor's bonfire and stuff like that. So it has been difficult per se. But I mean, I love geographically where I live. So I don't want to give that up, but I definitely do miss that opportunity for a community, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm hoping in time it'll change. But maybe it just needs a little bit more time.
Yeah, I think it's so hard too, because when you're in the midst of a pandemic, like block parties aren't happening, and like there's not these big community gatherings or barbecues or things that in a lot of the more rural areas you see trying to happen. So
our community was very it's very red. It's very anti-vax, anti-mask, stuff like that. So I was definitely the outlier in that anyway. So that doesn't help either. So I do take precautions, and even though they've just gone about their merry little ways, despite COVID and everything, I just sitting here on my 7 acres doing what I'm doing.
I just honoring that feeling. It can feel so hard being the one person in a community that's worried and scared and overwhelmed and trying to figure out how to keep your baby safe and do what feels right for you, and just honoring your experience in that, my dear.
Yeah.
Mm. Alrighty, so when you think about your dreams that you have, what you wrote down, what you guys just shared, what themes do you notice in them? Are your themes around a certain person that you're missing or that created community for you in the past or that you long for community with? Is it about a place that you see yourself going to experience that sense of community? Maybe a place that's held value for you in the past, or something you dream of or you've seen other people do? Is it a feeling that you have, a theme of a feeling that you get, or a routine that you create? What themes are you guys noticing? I want you to take a moment and just write down any themes that you're noticing. And then do you guys want to share any of those themes? Like, I was just looking at mine, and people who come to mind are my best friends and like-minded mamas, other mamas who have similar goals and dreams for how they want to raise their babies and how they go through the world and go through life, and then close proximity. Those are kind of the themes I noticed in mine. What themes did you guys notice?
For me, it was two of my friends when we were in San Diego that I get to see one of them about once a year, and the other one probably less. San Diego, some of it has to do with the fact we could be outside all the time,
Yeah.
right? Like the weather was just pretty much always nice.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit different. There is really a deep feeling of belonging. Yeah. And an easier and slower pace, right? One child for me was like so much slower than than it is now. And really a lot less worries than there were then. It seemed like the days would just stretch out versus
forever.
right these days that are really fast.
Yeah. So powerful.
I think like the themes I have seem like they could be contradictory, but I have spontaneity and reliability and flexibility, because it's like, could I do it at the spur of the moment? But if it's not a good time, that's okay, but also like they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think that all those things have to be mutually exclusive with each other. I think, and then like the last word I have is just organic, which just means that like we're all on board, and that way, like if somebody can't come, it's okay. Like it's not a big deal, or if today's not a great day or whatever. And that's one thing that's really been a part of the pandemic, is like if somebody has a sniffle, like you have to treat it like it's a big deal, at least especially in the last year or two before vaccines and everything like this. You need to be especially cautious around those things. And so being able to kind of temper your expectations around gathering with other people was really vital. But like I feel like I want it to kind of be a thing where you could be spontaneous, but also I need to be able to count on somebody if I need, something really, like a date, not a specific night or something like that it'd be really, I mean, I don't know. We had a situation with a babysitter, which we began during the pandemic, which was like every Friday night, she'd come and watch the kids, because we just got to the point where we were like, we need something. We need some time away from this place. You know what I mean? At that point, I think that the vaccines had come out for adults, and so it felt safer to do But yeah, I think all those things for me.
Yeah. I really love how you put like the desire for flexibility. And it, to me, I heard it almost as like there's this sense of ease and trust in your
Like
support
naturalness,
system.
right.
Yeah, like it's all gonna be okay if you can't do it, and it's gonna be wonderful if you can. And
Yeah.
it's not like it's hurt feelings or overwhelm or like
Right.
having to worry or stress. Like
Right.
just this ease in that. And you worded that so beautifully.
And if you're late, that's okay. And if we
Mhm.
wind up staying until after the kids' bedtime, it's no big deal, you know, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
But I feel like, especially in our culture, it's just not that it all feels like you're doing something wrong, you know, because like I remember the first time going to someone's house and I was like, we have to leave at 7 because I have to put the baby down, you know, and it was funny to me a couple weeks ago when we went to somebody's, you know, similar type of friend's house. And it was just like, we didn't leave until 8:30. And like, we've got this 3-year-old who still technically starts bedtime at 6:45. It's like, you know,
It becomes
but some
different.
of that only comes with time, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you can't rush it either.
Yeah. And that makes me think of the word you said, flexibility, and flexibility for ourselves. Like when I became a mom, I didn't realize how inflexible I was and how much that contributed to my own struggle.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
That
Yes.
created a lot of my own struggles, my
That's
own
right.
anxiety and depression and overwhelm.
Uh,
And that was the hardest thing.
if there's
to
one
figure
thing to
out.
help you realize how many expectations you have
Yes.
for any given day, for any given person.
Yeah.
It's having kids.
Yeah, it is. It taught me the value of being flexible, and using and adapting that in the same way as building a village too. And I haven't
Right.
connected those dots before. So
Well,
thank you.
and being verbal about what expectations you have. I know one of the
Mhm.
themes of the 4th trimester a couple of years ago was on communication, and like, yeah, people can't read your mind. You know, they can't know what expectations you have for them unless you can tell them. And I think that's something that comes with time as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and experience of being a mother and
Yeah.
experiencing how many little people can exist who can't read your mind.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
big people.
Yes, the big people too.
Nobody can read your mind. Like, let's just start realizing that.
I know.
Oh.
One day I'll know.
So hard.
Mhm.
Oh, Camille, my dear, I see your hand up.
Yeah. So I feel like the odd person out in these last two conversations, because my theme that I noticed in the things that I wrote down is that I need to be able to rely more on my own intuition and myself and my immediate
Oh, yeah.
family. And so that's what and so I, in the last two things we talked about, you know, having connections and things like that. And I do agree, like we need people and we need, you know, other mamas to support us. But I think through the pandemic, what I learned is that that isn't actually as important to me as the connection I have with the people under my house, my roof, in my home. And the connection I have with them is more important than anything else. And if they can't rely on me and I can't rely on them, then what do I have, right? And so we came in moving across the country, you know, we relied on so many people where we were at, and here we don't have that. And so even going through the pandemic, I noticed, you know, you couldn't rely on your neighbor to go get you groceries or to babysit your kids when the pandemic was happening because you were having to be in your family unit to stay safe. And so for me, I realized I can survive without all of those people because I built a strong foundation within my home and within my husband or my spouse and within my children. And so to me, that's what I see as the connection. And the reoccurring theme is that if I'm strong within my family and my children can rely on me and I know it and they know it, then I have that connection that I need. The extra stuff on the outside, yeah, that's important, especially, you know, when you first have a child and you're going through that postpartum period, which, you know, can last for so long. You do need those other connections, but within your family, if it's not strong, then what do you have, right?
That's true too. Yeah, that's a good point to make.
It is. I think I realized that a similar thing during the pandemic as well is like I could be in my house with my husband and my son, and we could do very well, right?
Mhm.
Like we are homebodies now, and
That's
stay-at-home
true.
days are exciting to my son. Like we found ways to create connection in that way. And I realized how much I miss the social connection that I don't have anymore. I can love the stay-at-home days, and then when I get a taste of the social connection, or I get to see a friend for something, and then I go home and I'm like, oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
My soul needed
Right.
that, right? Like this
Yeah.
deep needing inside me. And I haven't figured out my balance yet of the dosing of how can I get that?
The
How can I get that
dosing.
working? But right now it's like when are you available this? Okay, 3 months on this day at this time. See you then. Like
Right.
I've scheduled you in, and it's not frequent enough yet for me, but I'm
Right.
building it.
Mhm.
But I agree with you, Camille. Like there can be this sense of beauty and fulfillment that we build within our own family unit, right? Our own
Mhm.
home. as
Yeah.
well.
Well, and I agree, meeting people and talking to people and having that social connection is super important. And I do need it, but I also need the connection I have with my littles and for them to know that,
Yeah.
you know, that they're safe here and that there's happiness here. And at the end of the day, this is what is here. It's not the other people on the outside of that bubble.
Mhm.
Right.
So well said.
Yeah.
Thank you, Camille. Would anybody else like to share on Zoom about the themes you noticed in your dreams as you're envisioning what your village would look like? So the next thing I feel like we kind of got to do is call out the elephant in the room. So I dream a lot, and then my brain goes to like the land of buts. Like, but this isn't gonna work because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And I'm really good at living in that land of butts. Like I'm good at my brain saying like, but I
very
can't do it, and like talking myself out of it and identifying the barriers. I'm not that great at busting down those barriers right now, right? Like I'll find a place that's good enough and then anchor down and then not bust down the barriers. So if we want to build and create a plan for ourselves to build that village that we dream of, we have to call out the elephant in the room of what are the buts, what are the barriers that we experience and come up against, and be able to start figuring out how do we bust down those barriers, right? And so what barriers do you guys feel like you come up against regularly?
Time is one of them, right? Oh, I'll do that when I have more time. Location. I think I'll be like, right, like with this particular dream. Well, if only if I was in San Diego. Yeah. When I get that back, that'll happen once a year. But yeah, I think time. There's also, there's like social politeness and niceties too. Like I'm thinking of my littlest who, oh my gosh, during the pandemic, we would go to a park and he would like meet his new best friend, right? And he would demand that we exchange phone numbers, right? Like and I would just be like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. Hi, my son really, really would like to be with your friend. And they're like, okay, sure, here's my phone number. And I'm like, please don't think I'm weird and stuff. Right. Like, I mean, but I think that kind of stuff comes up all the time. Like we have neighbors that are in my son's class and he'll be like, we have to go over to their house right now. And I'm like, they might be having dinner. They might be doing right. I have all these excuses and he's like, but we have to go. When are we going? And I'm like, all right, hi, my son made me come. Right. Like
It's so socially awkward.
yeah, right. Especially post COVID, right? Like that feels particularly awkward because I haven't been in anyone else's house for a long time. Like those kinds of things and just showing up, we'll look over the fence and be like, looks like they're in their pool. Maybe we'll go in about an hour, right? I think those are a lot of the things that for me get in the way. It's like, is this the right thing to do? Is this the polite thing to do? But I think that part of the reason that it worked in San Diego was because I had one of my friends didn't really care. And so she would be really just like, hey, come on over, whatever, we're good, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you couldn't be impolite to her, basically. Like, you know, like by showing up at her house, it wouldn't happen that way. She would just be like, yep, come on in. We've got laundry all over the floor. The children are going crazy, but come on.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's so beautiful. Even I think of like finding people who are in that space of like, this is what it is, and I don't expect anyone's going to judge me. This is what my house is like, and welcome.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do we recreate that space where it feels safe for us, and where we can be like that, so that other people also feel safe to come into our mess without, you know, without being like, oh my gosh, you have a messy house, or those kinds of things.
It makes me think of that like catchphrase people say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you can like vibe how you want your tribe to be, can you do it? Like, will it bring that in?
Right.
Maybe, right? I can really relate to like the social anxiety piece of it, overthinking everything, and like, what do I say? What do I do? What if this happens? Like, live in the fear.
Right.
And I've almost created a child that's the same way. Like, because I go into the what if land so much, he goes into the what if land so much, and it feels like I like exacerbated that problem rather than helping.
Because now it's not just you. He's thinking of other obstacles and barriers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That social anxiety is so real for me too. And I think it's real as well as like the like we still wear masks, right, in our home, and wearing masks in our home or wearing masks out and about and being around other people, will they still want to hang out with us if we have a mask on, or will they be able to hear us when we experience that? Hi there, welcome. Hi, hello. We are streaming on Zoom and Facebook Live as well, just so you're aware. And we're talking about building our village in our own world. Oh, she found it. I know. Just for those who are in the Facebook world and the Zoom world, we had another mama join us here with two precious babies.
No, that fun is always exciting.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun things right over here too. My name is Dina. It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Welcome. This is Keely. Hi. And then you met Jenny. And then we have Facebook world here if you want to say hi. And Zoom land. So we were just talking about what our dreams are for the village, the community we want to build in our life and motherhood. What themes we've noticed in those dreams, and then right now we're like calling out the barriers that we experience. So for instance, I shared that my dream is like a neighborhood of support systems where there's people that live in the same neighborhood as me that are moms and that want to hang out and make a mom friend and have our kids have play dates and it feel natural, right? And open and inviting. And that there's themes of like certain people in my life that I want to be a part of that. And then the barriers that I'm coming up with is social anxiety. Like, I have moms in my neighborhood, but I don't know how to start a conversation with them because I don't have random conversations anymore. It's been a while.
Right.
So we're just talking about those barriers. Oh. So do you, I don't know if you want to share, you can, or if you just want to listen up to you too.
Yeah, no. So I was like thinking about this, trying to find like the group to like socialize because like my daughter is only 18 months. And this is my friend's kid. I'm just babysitting.
Okay.
Anyway, so she's 18 months and so like she's in that between age between like preschool and like school, and then like she's not a baby anymore. And so trying to find activities and like groups that are out there just in general that don't exist. And I'm like, or like you're trying to find these things, but you don't know where to look. You're like looking at Facebook or like online, and you're like, toddler play group, and
Yeah.
we don't have to like pay. Like
Right.
I just want mom, like another mom.
Yeah.
Friends, right?
Yeah. Like it's just hard to find it in general.
Well, you came to the right place. We are slowly coming back in person here. And so, is this your first time coming to a meeting? Okay, so we have them on the second Wednesday of every month. And this is like our test of coming back in person. So we still have some on Zoom and we broadcast to Facebook Live, but we're going to be transitioning fully here. And so if you come, you're going to meet more mamas and make some friends in the journey that hopefully you can, if you feel aligned, you can trade numbers with them and build that village that you're looking for. Oh, I'm so glad you showed up today. Oh yeah. Does anybody out in the Facebook want to share kind of some of the barriers you come up against as you try to think about how you would implement like this village that you want to create?
Judgment from family and the people pleasing. Like, my family is very like, family comes first and family are your friends. So like, if there's an event going on or something, like you will be there. And if you choose your friends over us, then oof, stuff like that. So, or I don't know, we've had a friend live with us from time to time, and it's like, why would you let her live with her? She's not family. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
live, we have an extra room. She's helping us out. Like, I don't know, just stuff like that. So family pressure, definitely. And then me being a firstborn people pleaser type of a thing, those boundaries are hard.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you brought up the people pleaser aspect of it too, Jennifer. Like, holy smokes, that can be a hard one, like finding and building a sense of comfort and like authenticity to yourself
Right.
while you're trying to establish what will your village look like, and being able to feel free to take what you want and leave what you don't want. When it comes to those relationships in your life, like, and how you want them involved. That's very complex, and that's such a real barrier. I love your awareness around that. I think the people pleasing affects me as well when it comes to building my village.
I very much identify with being a firstborn,
Yeah,
boundary problem.
boundaries are a tricky one.
Yeah, boundaries is what we're talking about next, right? Yeah.
Well, and I think it's good that you brought up family because like living far from family, like, both of our families are North Carolina. It kind of makes it to where you sort of have to find your family, in like a new place. And so it makes it like what I've come to realize in like 9 years of parenting is that there's like a good side to that as well as the challenge. There is a certain freedom, that's like you don't, if you don't want to fly back for Thanksgiving, like then you get to find who you want to have Thanksgiving with, and like that can be a challenge, but it can also be really fun, because maybe they have kids our same kids age, that kind of thing. And I think as a result, we've had a lot of experiences we wouldn't have ordinarily had. But I grew up too in a family where like your family is your friends. That was definitely the feeling I got from my mom. There was not very many external friendships, and even with like other families, we didn't, I don't think that Jenny's got.
Did I ruin it?
Oh, am I?
You're good. Oh no, I'm not on. That's
okay. I don't have to be. I'm done.
Yeah. You're good.
Yeah. Maybe I need to wrong one. Sorry. Yeah. I'm not very good at tracking the computer. People's faces. So I'm sorry, people on Facebook and Zoom land.
It's all right.
Thank you for sharing that, Kate.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we identify these barriers, now it's like, okay, how are we going to adopt a barrier busting mindset? And I feel like we probably have areas of our lives as people and mothers where we've been really good at problem solving, right? Like most moms that I know have had to get really creative at solving problems as they raise their children, right? Because you come into awareness that your baby needs something very specific, whether it's how they eat, how they sleep, how they play, what they like, what they don't like, how they need things said to them. And you're constantly trying to be creative. You're constantly trying to be creative in how you solve problems every single day. How can we use that same skill set, right? How can we use that same strength that most mamas have to find ways that we can solve the problems or bust the barriers that we experience in building our own villages? Like if our child was having the same problem, what would we say to them? What ideas would we come up with? Because I guarantee you we would have ideas,
My
right?
child was having trouble finding friends. What would I do? Yeah, you're right. I would totally solve it.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes. So what are some of the ways? What are some of the ways if this was your child having this struggle? What would
Right.
you be doing? How would you be helping?
In other words, if you were your mom,
Oh.
what would she say?
No,
You know what I
except
mean?
no. My mom doesn't know what social anxiety is. So she's like a free bird.
All right.
She gives me so much anxiety.
Well, number one, she'd make it hard.
Oh gosh. That was good.
Oh,
Perhaps something I can learn from my child who wants to get everyone's phone number immediately, huh?
yeah, right. That's what I was thinking when you said. I was like, how can I learn from, Catherine with her extroversion and
Mhm.
her willingness to kind of like just see people for what they are. And I think there is something to that actually, because Catherine is really good at living in the moment and just kind of taking what you have while you have it, like kind of the good with the bad, instead of just really enjoying the spot that you're in. The other side of that is when she feels sad or angry, like she really lives into that as well. But like there is something to be said for just kind of saying like, all right now at this moment, I am with this friend, so I'm gonna enjoy that. And I'm gonna appreciate what we have here, this community that I'm enjoying. I'm gonna appreciate it and let it like soak in and let it buoy me, until the next time, that I can share freely about these things, get some things sort of popped out and, looked at and, understood a little bit with other people, kind of not being anxious about like, oh, but when are we going to get together the next time? Like it's going to be so long until we can find another time to have dinner or whatever.
Like not worrying about the future.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I think maybe like it may be, I think looking at from our perspective, I think probably that which is the case, there are more chances for connection, than I think if I just appreciate them while they're happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What a
Not
great
the
point.
perfection. Like,
Yeah.
It needs to be like this, exactly right.
Right.
Instead of just what it actually.
Yeah.
Right. So that's part of my personality too, just kind of like trying to have gratitude for what already exists, without kind of like, I do think that there's something to be said for kind of daydreaming or looking ahead, trying to sort of create that what you want, but realize too, maybe part of what you want is already there, in some sense. And so how can you build on that? Or
How can you just see it?
yeah, right. How can you just see it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
When I think of it in terms of like, if this was my son's struggle, what would I do? I feel like some of the things that come to mind are just call somebody, right? Stop thinking about it, just call somebody.
Mhm.
Because he says in the moment, like, let's call auntie, let's call, like, he just like wants to pick up the phone and call everybody on the list and talk to them. And I'm like, they're probably busy, they're probably at work, they're probably doing this. But
Right.
maybe we should just call. Like maybe it is
Yeah.
just pick up the phone with this.
Or even text, what I found is like, if somebody just sort of texts me randomly and says, hey, I'm thinking of you, you don't have to reply.
Mhm.
That's still like, I appreciate that,
You're really good at that.
Well, I text because like I know I'll forget. And I'm
You're
like,
like,
I'm
it's
gonna do
my
it.
memory.
It's probably like 11 or 9 p.m. or something, you know. I just assume everybody keeps their phone silent because like I have since I had a baby.
Constantly. I think of too, so we were at Disneyland a few months ago.
Yeah.
And we were waiting in line for the Ghirardelli Chocolate Factory, like to get an ice cream. And there was this mom behind us, and she had a kid the same age as my son, and then she had a baby on her that she's wearing in a carrier. And her son just started playing with my son, and they were like instant friends, like giggling, laughing, just playing. And she said to me, "Wouldn't it be great if adults could make friends as quickly as kids could?" And I was like, "Yes, I agree. Like all the like you like ice cream." Best friends, like I like ice cream. You
Right.
like
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite too.
best thing ever. And it's so interesting to think of that. And we ended up talking in that line. And she's like, "Yeah, we're from Mesa, Arizona." And I'm like, "No,
Oh,
I'm from Gilbert, Arizona." I
yeah.
was like, "Small world." And she's like, "Yeah." And we traded phone numbers. Funny story. So I texted her and she didn't text back, but this morning she texted me, and it's been months. And she's like, "I totally thought I responded, but my son was just talking about his chocolate factory friends."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I replied, like, "Yeah." I get nervous at first and like, just do it, do not like, just
do
reply in the moment. Don't overthink it. Like just doing things like that. Like, your kid likes ice cream, my kid likes ice cream. We could be friends too.
Right.
Like, they could be friends and we could be friends.
Right.
Like,
Right. Well, that's what
can I
I'm
take a
saying
lesson?
with Catherine, right? Like living in that moment and saying like this friendship, even if they made really good friends with a girl when we had a layover in Dallas one time. And it was just like, I still remember her name was Georgia, and the kids were like 1 and 4 or something. The girls were. And like, I got her mom's number, but like, no, but still like on a level, it was cool to have a friend on the airplane, and they wound up sitting next to each other and had headphones or whatever. It was really sweet. And like that right there is a moment of connection. It doesn't have to be right like a lifelong friendship or something. You can appreciate not being in line with somebody who was in a bad mood for an hour long, you had to wait for the ice cream, and appreciate that for what it was. And so and it's like I can totally see my kids kind of doing a similar thing where they're like, "Oh yeah, ice cream, let's be friends." And so I think there's something to that. We made friends with a family when we were hiking in Shenandoah National Park last summer. And it's funny because I was thinking of her while we were traveling this summer, and I texted her because we had each other's numbers. And it turns out they're going to be moving, and also like they might be in Arizona for a little while. I'm like, "Well, if you are, just let me know."
Look at you. Good
Well,
job.
well, it's just really, it's just kind of a fun thing as you go placing, because you never know, right? And it's really funny that person wound up living in Mesa, but like, even if they didn't, like, it'd be cool. What if they lived outside Yosemite? You're like, next time I go see those big trees, I'm gonna stop here.
Magic.
Wow, so true. Yeah. So.
What else do you guys think when you think of learning from your kids, right? How you would problem solve for your kids? What else do you think of ways that you can learn from them, or how you would help them with the same problem that can help yourself? And if you guys are on Zoom, you guys can feel free to unmute and share. You can share as well, Allie.
Yeah, good up for you can too. I know that's fine.
So my daughter's on 18 months, so she can't like get on the phone, call anyone.
Right.
Reaches out, and so for like me, that's big. I'm like I'm very self-anxiety too, and I'm very. I'm good. I'll just stay at home, whatever. But for her, she has to get out. She has to play. She has to socialize, and so for I guess it like translates through her to me. Like reaching out to other moms or other groups or whatever, even though it's very uncomfortable for me.
Yes. I think that's so great, like being strong for your child because you know they need it, right? Like she needs this, so like deep breath, I'm gonna do it. Let's go.
And I think that just like over time, I'm hopeful it'll be like better.
Yeah, like strengthen that muscle, right? Keep working it out until it comes easy.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so as we are like formalizing this plan that you guys have been writing out, what makes things feel easier for you when you're busting your barriers? So I thought about, I met Jenny, who was my son's lactation consultant. And I met her because I was in a moment of like panic. My son was 4 days old. And I handed my son to my husband and I ran. And I was like, nope, can't do it. He's not, like, he never stops crying. I'm in so much pain. I can't do this. And so he called my mom, and my mom's like, you need to feel like taking this on. And I was like, oh, what? Like, thank God you know resources, woman. And she helped me, and she got on the phone with my health insurance and figured out all the things. And busting that barrier came so much easier with somebody else. And then she came with us. And she, I don't know if she was in the room with us when we met you or if she was like in the lobby, but she came with us. And when I went to my first support group as a mom, my pregnant friend came with me. Like I had somebody in arms, like being strong with me, my safety net, my safe person, to do something hard and overwhelming until I could create a routine to feel secure in, because routines give me security. So what are some things that help you feel like you can do things easy, right? Is it having a plan, like having a plan of action? Is it having a safe person? Is it creating a routine? Is it having like a trial run? Like anytime I have something really pressing I've never done before and I have to go somewhere, I go before the day and I'm like, this is how you go. This is the parking lot we'll be in. And this is the route I need to go. And I have to do it in order to be like,
Yeah.
I can do this.
What am I gonna do? What roads do I take? And then when I get there, where should I park? Because like it's such a mess. And like I feel like I can tell myself how to go just because of parking lots. Like if I feel like it's gonna be too complicated.
Yeah. I call them trial runs and they're very important in my life. So I have to know, like I have to try it out and see how it's gonna go so I can prepare myself and have the best plan possible.
Right. I guess.
What else do you guys do that helps you make things easier, I guess?
Meeting someone with you, like for example, one, you've never been to the zoo.
Yeah.
Like, you've never been to the zoo. It's a lot. And but if you bring someone with you, like the first time you go, that's like has been to the zoo. Like I did this, my sister-in-law has 4 kids now, and she had been to the zoo a billion trillion times. And first time we went with my daughter, I was like, can you come with me?
Yeah.
Like just like that person, even if like I didn't need her or whatever, just it was one like I don't know,
Right.
someone there that gave me where to go, do things to see or whatever. So
Yeah.
so like we went camping. And so the first time we went camping with my daughter, went with my family. My dad was there, my parents were there, whatever. And so we're good. And then we went camping without anyone, just us. And then it was good. It worked out great. So I'd say like maybe having
Easing into
it, like doing it once with someone else.
Right.
See
I
how
love
it
that.
goes. Kind of like
That's
a test
good.
run.
Well, and two, I mean, to kind of go on that just a little bit, I remember I mentioned the child care swap we had done. And with this particular friend that I met at the Leche League, what we did, we made a plan to have breakfast before it, and then we'd go to the meeting together. And so every month, like it wasn't just a Leche League, but it was also this like mom date, and our girls were like a month apart. And so, you know, they were kind of grown up together as well during that little period of time. And so tying it into something that's like maybe more fun to just have breakfast together, but like also we knew that we wanted to go, let's say, because there might be resources there, we might be able to actually serve as resources as our kids got, to 3, 4, 5, 6 months old, we kind of became a little bit more of like the older generation of mom, right? At that stage, you feel like, hey, I mean, I've latched on 100 times by now. Like this is not, so new. And so, yeah. And so just kind of like that. Yeah. But yeah, I think being able to kind of groups like that, it's neat because you're like one of the new ones, but then you become like an expert so quickly because our kids grow so fast. You know what I mean? So
I love that idea of going to breakfast before a meeting.
yeah. That way I wasn't just like, well, and especially because like when you just have one, you wake up and you're like, I'm not ready to encounter people. So like encountering like 2 people and then all the people, which may or may be, maybe a
Such a
dozen,
good
but
idea.
you know what I mean? It's kind of easing into social interaction of the day.
That's a great idea.
Work out
Especially
a lot.
like large groups are great, right? And like daunting.
You don't know how big they're gonna be. It might be 6 people, but it might be like 20. And then for me, that's like, ooh,
Especially post-COVID. Like, I feel like
right.
people,
That's also, yeah. Kind of a consideration.
your kiddo was born during COVID, right? When there was probably no
Yeah.
mom groups happening in the community, and what did that look like? And now it could be like, here is probably huge. Like, wow, I'm here in person. And
Yeah. They're like letting us touch things.
I know.
I know. I've been like that the last couple museums. I've been like, can we like touch schools?
I know.
Like,
I know. It's been so different.
I like creating backup plans too. Like I'll have like my husband has social anxiety too. So between the 2 of us, we're constantly trying to like help the other person's anxiety. And so like when he comes up with a butt of why we can't do something, then it's like, okay, we're gonna have this, that, like this is plan A, this is plan B, this is plan C. Like if it
Right.
doesn't go as planned this way, like it'll be okay, because then we'll phase into this plan, right? And we have like we have a backup plan that gives us security. Like we can navigate through it. And if all else fails,
Right.
we can go home.
Right. Right. At the end of the day, we know we tried.
Yes.
And maybe next time it'll be easier.
All right, what about you guys on Zoom? Do you want to share any things that feel easier for you? As you do hard things, like what helps you do hard things? I'm sorry it's loud in here, guys. We're playing with some toys. Those little ones are. Okay, so
You just walk.
you should have some pretty decent notes written down at this point of your dreams for your village and themes that are important to you and barriers and how you can overcome some of those barriers. And so I invite you, if you want to formalize this into a little plan for yourself where you can put your dream into a sentence or two, something that can anchor your dream in, and list out the things that you need to make this happen. What are the important pieces of this dream that matter to you, right? Whether that's flexibility and reliability in your friendship, whether that's shared meals with somebody, whether that's getting to know people in your own neighborhood, or having play dates out and about. Write out those things that you need that really matter to you in that dream so that you can begin to build upon it. And then pull from your barrier buster list that you have to create action steps towards your dream. So, for instance, capitalizing on what your child would do and be in the moment. When you think about somebody, call them or ring the doorbell or ask for their phone number at the playground.
Right.
To build that connection, that relationship. Bring a friend with you who's going to be your partner to do the hard things. What's going to be your backup plan if you're feeling a lot of anxiety and stuff? What can help you overcome the barriers so that when you're done creating this list, you can look at it and see a really simple plan that you can reflect back on to kind of anchor you in as you build your village. And I'll give you guys in the Zoom world a few minutes to write that out. Yeah. Alrighty, you guys. And Jennifer, Sue, thank you so much for joining us on Zoom. It was a pleasure to chat with you and share space with you today. We're gonna go ahead and hop off the Facebook world and unscreen in the Facebook land. I'm gonna do my best. Thank you all on the Facebook world for joining us. We will see you guys next month on the second Wednesday. And if you are in the area around Mesa, Arizona, come on over to the Idea Museum to join us in person. Alrighty, you guys, take care in Facebook land.